to provide a quick input into item 12, which is about a proposed private plan change that Fletcher has proposed for the Three Kings Quarry. And, you know, this has been on our agenda for some time, and I'm just hopeful that one day I'll be able to retire and this thing will actually be finished. Can I just at the start say, re-emphasise the importance of the agreement that's been achieved between the societies and Fletchers. It is a considerable achievement. Concessions have been made on both sides, but the agreement in the end is a marked improvement, I believe, on what was originally proposed. It's come at considerable cost to the community, estimates of something like $200,000. It's not cheap, but I think the outcomes hopefully are going to be worth it. I personally still have some reservations about the impact of the development, and the board certainly will be vigilant about the implementation, because this is going to go on for some years and things might be forgotten, and certain people or developers might be hoping they can slip things through. We're going to continue to be vigilant. I'm very pleased that the Housing New Zealand has withdrawn its yeah, it could be use some rather vulgar language, but withdraw their claim for costs against the societies. That's only just happened at the very last minute. It happened yesterday, as I understand it. They've withdrawn. I guess the High Court will have to go through its process to actually accept that withdrawal. All that aside, though, I am pleased to reiterate the board's support for the recommendation to adopt the private plan change request by Fletchers and agreed to by the community societies. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. It's moved and seconded, members, by Councillor Casey and the Mayor. Can we have any questions of Harry at this time, Councillor Casey?
No, I've got a question of John.
Okay, we'll come. Harry, thank you.
Yep.
John, can we come to you? I've just received that advice. We were aware that there was a claim for costs and there were some approaches made, and I'm grateful to Adrian Young-Cooper, the Chair of Housing New Zealand, for taking our requests up informally. John, does that new information change these motions?
No, it doesn't. As you'll see on the screen, we've provided some amendments. The report was drafted on the basis that all matters would be settled in the High Court, but because of Housing New Zealand's claim for costs, things were still in abeyance. So after the report was finalised, we had to put up some amended wording to recognise that at this particular moment in time, the Council cannot adopt a private plan change because the provisions are not yet operative. And even though, as of yesterday, Housing New Zealand withdrew their claim for costs against the societies, we haven't yet had formal confirmation from the High Court that that correspondence has been accepted. It is just a formality, but unfortunately we still need the amended wording, which differs from that in the agenda, just to cover off the fact that right now, as of this moment, you cannot adopt a change to this part of the unitary plan, because this part of the unitary plan is still held up, although really it's the High Court is likely to, in the next few days, hopefully just confirm that the matter is completely resolved. We can then make the plan operative, and so we are seeking delegation to Chair, Deputy Chair and a member of the IMSB to do that final step of actually adopting it.
Thank you. Okay, so look, John, at this stage I think it's best if we allow you to proceed with the matter before us. Do you want to take us through a very quick intro?
Yeah, I can be incredibly brief, and I understand there's at least one question. So at the May Planning Committee meeting, there was a resolution to prepare a plan change for the Three Kings Quarry area and to notify that when the societies had withdrawn their appeal proceedings in the High Court, which they had indicated that they would do. They withdrew their appeal. My team and Fletcher's experts and the society has been working together over the last couple of months to agree the detail of the plan change. It's now at the point where we are recommending it is adopted, which means it essentially becomes a council plan change at the point that you adopt it. As I mentioned, unfortunately we can't do that completely today, but it's as close as we can possibly get. And I think we explained in May the substance of the plan change is really just some amendments that respond to the Environment Court proceedings that took place a while ago. There's some additional protection of volcanic features, some changes to the fill levels, some tweaking of the areas of open space and some of the zone boundaries. And it has the support of the societies, Fletchers and council staff to go forward to a new round of submissions and another hearing. But hopefully this one will be less fraught than the previous plan change.
Thank you, John. Councillor Simpson?
My question was just around the fact that because you can't make it operative as of now, and therefore we've amended the resolutions to delegate, would it not be better just waiting a month and doing it next month completely, or do you need this interim version now?
Through the chair, it really is a matter of just progressing this as swiftly as possible. We had hoped to bring this to the August Planning Committee meeting, but some of the discussions between the societies, our staff and Fletchers were still ongoing. To defer it another month, I think Fletchers and the societies will be a bit disappointed. Yes, it would be cleaner, but I think we're at the point now where you have the detail attached.
Yep.
We think it's good to go. Preference would be to stick
Just
with
the process
August, but
question's fine.
sorry, with September.
Thank you. Further questions, members?
Yeah.
Councillor Casey?
John, I'm interested in whether this land swap has gone to the Minister yet. That's my first question.
Okay, through the chair, this is, I think as you're very familiar, the land exchange or land swaps and the plan change sort of happen in parallel and they need to dovetail together. The report specifically on the plan change, I can't answer whether the land exchange has gone to the Minister yet. We'd have to come back to you on that.
I'd like to
Yeah.
copy Harry in too. And can you just give us, you've been talking to Fletcher, at least staff have, can you tell us what's coming down the pipeline? Is it another plan change, another land swap? What's next? What's the next step in this process?
Okay. Very valid question. In the May Planning Committee meeting, we did foreshadow that Fletchers have an interest in what's known as the Works Depot site at the back of the Three Kings Town Centre. So we have foreshadowed that. Fletchers have an interest. It's something that we're working through with them and the local board, but that will take some time to work through. So that may require a subsequent plan change, not for the bulk of the quarry area, but for that particular location, or it may not, but it would certainly require a new land exchange process to deal with the Works Depot. Key thing there is to find another location for the Works Depot itself, and that may take some time.
Thank you. Well, look, it appears like a good outcome here. Harry, I'd like to just acknowledge your board. This has been probably one of your biggest issues for how many years? I was going to say 5, but it's probably a lot more.
Well, yeah, it predates me, so yeah, probably 5 or 6 years.
Predates you. You mean your time as a...
My time on the board, yes. Well, not that long.
So, look, no, in all seriousness, this has been a big issue for that community. There's been tremendous engagement, and it's been very testy along the way. So it's good to arrive at this point. So to the societies for taking the challenge. It's all part of the test that these projects have to go through. And I also have to take my hat off to Fletchers as well, to have the willingness to be around the table, treating with the societies, with our council staff. Also to Housing New Zealand for what I'm hearing today. They've withdrawn their claim for costs. They were a party to proceedings. And also, I know that the local Member of Parliament, Michael Wood, has been consumed by this as well. So it's been a really... Oh, and there was a former Member of Parliament for the same area. Now our Mayor,
passing interest
Phil Goff, with much more than a passing interest. So congratulations to you all. And I think we'll confirm this today, and probably prior to the beginning of October, we'll have all the documentation tucked away, good and proper, ready for this to be progressed. So thank you. Councillor Fletcher.
Well, before your speech, I was actually just going to ask a question, but I think it's been covered. But it was really in response to Councillor Simpson, and that is that I think there is a measure of good faith, that whenever you have a long and protracted negotiation of this kind, all parties concede. And I think that on behalf of Fletcher's, it is important, and it's certainly been drawn to our attention, that the council will make progress on this. So it's important today. But as others have said, there is, I suppose, there is a fierce determination to proceed. There is a housing crisis. This is going to be part of the solution to the housing crisis. And for those who've had the opportunity of seeing some of the dwellings that have been constructed on the SHA part, I think we're going to see a magnificent outcome for our community. It's well served in terms of transport and schools and infrastructure. These are going to be really well sought after properties, and I'm pleased that we can finally make progress.
Thank you. We shall put the motion. All those.
The other councillor would like to speak.
I thought she did a few times, but I'll let
She
her
didn't, she
speak.
asked some questions. And she asked to speak as well.
Councillor Casey.
Thank you. I'm going to congratulate Harry and the former chair, Julie, for a different reason. This was a really hard slog, and it was a hard slog because it was the same time as a unitary plan. And this board took up the cudgels on behalf of the Mount Roscoe community and didn't drop it, despite being called NIMBYs. And this board didn't block any development in Mount Roscoe. This was the one development they wanted to get the best outcome for. And I heard them come to this committee, come to other, not this committee, come to former committees, come to governing body, keep saying the same thing, and we didn't serve them well. And I'm not happy with the way we did serve the Pookie Tapapa local board. So all power to you, Harry, and to former chair Julie, and all the members of that board. I was in the room, and so was Councillor Fletcher, when there was 300 people in a small hall in Mount Roscoe, because they were concerned about this development. Those concerned have now been met as a compromise, and we're well on the way, but I will never forget that process. Just a reminder, these guys are the ones that know what's happening on the ground, and when they come to ask us for something, we shouldn't abuse them. Yeah.
Thank you all. I'll put it then. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
To the contrary, no. And declare that carried. Can we record that unanimously, even though it is the
Yes.
adoption of a private plan change?